Well, at first, you would have to have a life support system because Mars has a low-density atmosphere, only about 1% the density of Earth, and it's primarily CO2.
I don't know, I think I've learned a lot of lessons about how to make things go fast. It then propagated those lessons to the SpaceX team, and there's just like an incredibly talented, hardworking team at SpaceX. Yeah. In fact, at times I think maybe there's too many talented people at SpaceX that we're cornering the market.
Out of nowhere, a mysterious creature has completely destroyed NASA's Mars rover, an event no one anticipated. Just when it seemed the search for life on Mars was under control, something terrifying happened. The rover's cameras shut down, sensors failed, and reports showed rapid, chaotic movements beneath the Martian surface. Tune in as scientists race against time, desperate to uncover the truth about the monstrous force lurking beneath the red soil, life versus colonization. NASA sent its state-of-the-art rover to Mars, and after 3 months of exploration, something bizarre happened. Reports start coming in that the rover was destroyed by something, an unknown force, maybe even a creature. It sounds like a sci-fi movie plot, but this isn't fiction. It's the kind of real, mind-bending stuff that's got the scientific community shaking its head and scratching for answers. Then a faint, inexplicable signal emerged from the rover's last known location. Mars has always been a puzzle, a world full of secrets. Since the early 2000s, NASA's been on a mission to unravel that mystery. They've sent robots like Spirit, Opportunity, Curiosity, and now Perseverance, all designed to explore, dig, and analyze this mysterious red planet. The goal? Figure out if Mars was ever capable of supporting life, even if that life was just tiny, microscopic organisms. Water is the key here. It's always been about finding evidence of past water, because where there's water, there's the potential for life. Spirit and Opportunity were the first rovers that touched down in 2003. They discovered clues suggesting Mars had water once, a lot of it. These missions, with their solar panels and complicated suspension systems, showed us that Mars wasn't just a dusty red rock. It was a planet that might have supported lakes and rivers. A place that, once upon a time, could have been wet enough for life. Curiosity took it up a notch in 2012. It wasn't just looking for signs of water, it was hunting for life itself. Armed with sophisticated tools that could analyze the composition of Martian rocks, Curiosity found organic molecules, the building blocks of life. They were just molecules, but they hinted that Mars may have once had the right conditions for microbes to exist. Then came Perseverance in 2021, the latest and greatest in a line of rovers. This time the mission was clear: search for actual signs of ancient life. Equipped with tools to study Martian rocks at a microscopic level, and even a helicopter named Ingenuity, Perseverance was ready to prove whether Mars was ever home to any sort of living thing. But now we get to the strange part, something that's thrown a wrench in the works. Recently, during a routine check of a rough patch of Martian terrain, the Curiosity rover found something unexpected. The rover's instruments detected anomalies in the ground, strange resistances and inconsistent readings. The kind of thing you wouldn't expect unless something was going on beneath the surface. Initial tests pointed to rapid changes in the Martian soil, almost as if the ground was shifting or reacting to something in real time. The sensors began malfunctioning, cameras picked up strange soil patterns, and control from Earth had to stop the rover's movement to avoid further damage. These unusual patterns weren't random. They had a form, a kind of symmetry, almost as if they'd been crafted. Not by wind or natural erosion, but by something else. Some scientists have started to wonder if these formations were influenced by an unknown force or entity, maybe even something alive. Naturally, when people hear unknown entity, the first thought is aliens. But this doesn't necessarily mean little green men with antennas. We're talking about life in any form, even if it's just microbes or something weirder, lurking beneath the Martian surface. There's a chance that what Curiosity found could be explained by natural phenomena, like gas emissions that cause the soil to shift in unpredictable ways, or changes in magnetic or electrostatic forces. Mars has compounds like magnetite that could create repellent forces under specific conditions, which might explain why Curiosity had such a hard time navigating this patch of terrain. Of course, there's also a less comforting theory. What if something more complex exists under the surface? Something that doesn't want us poking around? It sounds outlandish, but when you're dealing with a planet that's millions of miles away, Anything is on the table until proven otherwise. Scientists have speculated that deep within Mars's crust, extremophiles organisms that live in extreme environments could be thriving, interacting with the environment in ways we're only beginning to understand. The implications are mind-blowing. If there is or was something more on Mars, even tiny organisms, that completely rewrites what we know about life in the universe. It means life isn't unique to Earth, and it could exist in conditions way harsher than our own. But that also complicates things, because if Mars is already home to life, we can't just trample in and start building colonies. We'd have to reconsider every aspect of exploration, every mission planned, and every precaution taken to avoid contamination. This unknown phenomenon isn't just a mystery for scientists, it's a potential ethical dilemma. If there's life on Mars, do we have the right to interfere? Human exploration is often about progress, about pushing boundaries. But at what cost? If we're going to colonize Mars, do we risk destroying whatever ecosystem might already exist there? These questions are starting to gain urgency now that Mars isn't looking as barren as we once thought. And this is where Elon Musk comes in. Musk has been at the forefront of pushing for human colonization of Mars. SpaceX's Starship rockets are being designed to carry thousands of people to the Martian surface, with the dream of creating a city, a self-sustaining community that can support itself using local resources. This isn't just about a few astronauts planting a flag. It's about hundreds, even thousands of people living and thriving on Mars. But recent discoveries pose a problem. If there's even a small chance that life exists on Mars, Musk's vision gets way more complicated. Colonization means changing the Martian environment, introducing Earth microbes, altering the landscape, and potentially harming any native life forms. This isn't just a technical problem, it's an ethical and philosophical one. Can we terraform a planet if it's already home to some form of life? And if we do, what happens to that life? With new questions emerging, the future of Mars exploration gets even trickier. Balancing exploration with preservation. The idea of terraforming making Mars more Earth-like has always been ambitious. Musk's plans involve altering the Martian atmosphere, making it warmer and more hospitable for human life. But what if in doing so, we destroy something unique? The truth is, we don't know what's out there. If Mars is home to organisms that have managed to survive its harsh conditions, they could hold secrets to biology that we've never encountered before. Destroying that for the sake of colonization could be a huge mistake. The scientific community is divided. On one hand, the idea of discovering extraterrestrial life is thrilling. It's the holy grail of planetary exploration. But on the other hand, the discovery of unknown forces on Mars, possibly life, means we have to tread carefully. The stakes are high, not just for science, but for humanity's place in the cosmos. What does it mean if we find life on Mars? How does that change our understanding of our own existence? And if we're not alone, what responsibilities do we have to other forms of life? In the end, Musk's dream of a Martian city might have to adapt. Rather than barreling ahead, it could mean taking a more cautious, scientific approach, developing technologies that minimize our impact on the Martian environment, finding ways to coexist rather than conquer. This is the kind of situation where the visionaries have to work alongside the scientists, the engineers, the ethicists, and even the philosophers to ensure that when we do reach Mars, we're doing it the right way. There's no doubt that the idea of unknown creatures or forces on Mars is unnerving. It makes us wonder if we're truly ready for what we might find out there. Mars isn't just a dusty rock anymore. It's a living question mark. Are we prepared for the answers it might hold? Especially if those answers challenge our deepest beliefs about life, the universe, and our place in it? One thing is certain, space exploration is never straightforward. For every step forward, there's always a surprise waiting around the corner, something that forces us to rethink everything we thought we knew. The unknown forces on Mars are a reminder that the universe is full of mysteries, and the more we explore, the more we realize how little we actually know. The Perseverance rover and the earlier rovers have revealed so much about Mars, yet with every answer comes more questions. From finding evidence of past water to the discovery of organic molecules, each mission has opened new doors. The recent anomalies and unusual formations detected by Curiosity, though, are a stark reminder of how alien Mars truly is. It's not just a cold, lifeless desert? It's a place that might be hiding something profound beneath its surface. Imagine a scenario where we finally confirm life on Mars, not just in the form of ancient fossils, but actual living organisms. It would be the greatest discovery in the history of science. We would know without a doubt that life can emerge independently on different worlds. It would mean that the universe is teeming with possibilities, that there could be countless other planets out there with some form of life, even if it's just microbial. But that kind of discovery would also bring with it a heavy responsibility. What if the organisms we find on Mars are vulnerable to Earth-based bacteria or viruses? What if our presence threatens their survival? We'd have to rethink everything about how we explore Mars. Maybe instead of focusing on human colonization, we would need to prioritize protecting Martian life, even if it means keeping our distance. Elon Musk's vision of a city on Mars is still a thrilling prospect. It speaks to our desire to explore, to push beyond our limits, and to become a multi-planetary species. But the dream of building a bustling Martian city needs to be balanced with the realities of what we might find on that planet. Mars might not be an empty canvas for us to paint on. It could already have its own story, one that we need to respect and understand before we add our own chapter. The reality is that the unknown forces on Mars present both an incredible opportunity and a profound challenge. We could be on the verge of discovering something that changes our understanding of life itself, but that discovery could also force us to confront ethical questions we've never had to face before. If there is life on Mars, even in its simplest form, how do we honor it? How do we explore without exploiting? This is the kind of debate that needs to happen before we send humans to Mars. Scientists, engineers, ethicists, and policymakers need to come together to create a plan that takes into account all the possibilities. It's not just about the technology to get there. It's about the choices we make once we arrive. Do we treat Mars as a new frontier to conquer, or do we approach it as caretakers, ensuring that our actions don't cause harm? Space exploration is one of humanity's greatest achievements. It represents our curiosity, our drive to learn, and our willingness to face the unknown. But with that exploration comes responsibility. The mysteries of Mars are calling us, and we need to make sure that when we answer, we do so with respect, caution, and a deep understanding of the implications. The recent events involving Curiosity's strange findings have sparked imaginations and concerns alike. What lies beneath the surface of Mars? Could it be a new form of life, something entirely alien to what we know? Or is it a natural process we simply haven't encountered before? Whatever the answer, one thing is clear. Mars still has secrets to reveal, and we're only just beginning to scratch the surface. In the coming years, as we continue to send missions to Mars, we'll need to keep our minds open to all possibilities. The unknown forces that Curiosity detected could lead to breakthroughs that change everything, but they also remind us that we're venturing into territory that's far from fully understood. Mars is not Earth, and its secrets won't be easily uncovered. They require patience, caution, and a willingness to accept that we might not be the only ones out there. Back on Earth, a bold move was about to take the world's fascination with Mars even further. Rocket reusability. Back in early February of 2018, SpaceX, the brainchild of Elon Musk, decided it was time for a big show. Picture it, the maiden voyage of the Falcon Heavy rocket, taking off from Launch Complex 39A at the Kennedy Space Center. But here's the catch. Musk didn't settle for a boring old hunk of metal for a payload. No, he picked his flashy red Tesla Roadster, a car from 2010, as the test cargo. And not only that, sitting comfortably in the driver's seat was a mannequin dubbed Starman, dressed in a SpaceX-designed spacesuit, a nod to David Bowie's Starman. A real-life sci-fi scene, right? But let's not get too distracted by the spectacle. There was a point behind all this showmanship. The primary goal was to prove that the Falcon Heavy could carry a heavy load beyond Earth's orbit, essentially that it was capable of interplanetary travel. The Tesla wasn't just cruising around randomly either. It was launched into an elliptical orbit around the Sun, crossing the path of Mars at its farthest point, which was almost 2 astronomical units away from the Sun. In case your astronomy is rusty, that's a fancy way of saying it went really, really far. Now let's be real for a second. Did we really need a red sports car floating around space? Not really, But that was the whole point. It was absurd and outrageous, and people couldn't help but pay attention. The live footage of the car, with Earth in the background, was streamed everywhere for hours after the launch. It was like a sci-fi movie come to life, and for a little while, the whole world was fascinated. Space exploration met automotive branding, and it worked. Hook, line, and sinker. But what happened next? Well, the Tesla kept doing its thing, floating around out there, drifting through space on its lonely journey around the sun. It doesn't have any fancy communication equipment, so there's no way to hear from it. But we do know where it is thanks to some good old ephemeris data from NASA's Jet Propulsion Laboratory. Websites like Where is Tesla Roadster even keep track of it. Right now, it's about 324 million kilometers from Earth and more than 455 million kilometers from Mars. That's a lot of zeros. And no, it's not going to Mars or any specific destination. It's just out there, circling the sun forever, or at least until it gets swallowed by something or breaks apart. The entire mission was really a statement, a way for Musk to show off both SpaceX's engineering and Tesla's brand. It wasn't just about testing a rocket, it was about creating a spectacle that would get people talking. By sending a flashy sports car into space, Musk managed to mix pop culture with technological innovation, ensuring that everyone, even those who normally wouldn't care about space travel, took notice. It was as much an advertisement for Tesla as it was a demonstration of SpaceX's power. And it worked. The stunt gave SpaceX and Tesla massive visibility, and those images of Starman floating in the dark cosmos, they became instantly iconic. SpaceX, however, didn't stop there. In the years since, they have been busy setting new milestones in space travel. Moving forward to October of 2024, SpaceX achieved something that had never been done before. They successfully recovered the super heavy booster of their Starship rocket using the mechanical arms of the launch tower. Imagine a massive metal claw coming to life, reaching out and catching a giant booster falling from the sky. It sounds like something from a sci-fi movie, but it's real. It is part of Musk's relentless pursuit of full reusability in space travel. And let's not forget the Starship vehicle. It made a successful splashdown, marking another step towards rockets that can be used again and again, which is key to making space travel affordable and sustainable. And let's not gloss over why this reusability is such a big deal. Space travel has always been incredibly expensive, mainly because rockets are typically used once and then discarded. Imagine if every time you took a flight, they threw away the airplane. That's essentially what we've been doing with rockets for decades. Musk's vision is different. He wants rockets to be more like airplanes, used over and over to make the entire process more economical. It is all about bringing down the cost and making space accessible for more ambitious missions, including the goal of getting humans to Mars. The recovery of the super heavy booster and the splashdown of the Starship vehicle are crucial steps towards achieving that dream. Every successful test brings SpaceX closer to making space travel a common occurrence, something that might even be routine in the future. The more frequently rockets can be launched and reused, the cheaper it becomes, and that opens the door to exploring not just the Moon or Mars, but possibly even further destinations in our solar system. Looking back, the launch of the Tesla Roadster in 2018 might have seemed like an elaborate publicity stunt, and in many ways it was. But it was also a very effective demonstration of what SpaceX was capable of. It captured the world's attention, proving that space could be exciting and inspirational, even whimsical. Elon Musk managed to turn a technical demonstration into a pop culture event. People who had never cared about rockets before were suddenly watching live streams, sharing photos, and talking about space. And that's exactly what Musk wanted, to make space travel not just accessible, but exciting. Since that day, the Tesla has continued its lonely journey around the sun, orbiting in the cold darkness of space. It may not serve any scientific purpose out there, but its symbolic value is undeniable. It's a reminder of what human ambition can achieve when it dares to dream big and think outside the box. SpaceX has moved on to bigger and more complex projects, like working on a fully reusable Starship that could one day take humans to Mars. The Roadster, meanwhile, will keep circling the sun, a relic of a bold moment in space history, a floating testament to human creativity and Musk's flair for the dramatic. Is sending a car into space a genuine symbol of human progress, or just an extravagant publicity stunt? Share your thoughts below, like the video, and don't forget to subscribe for more content.